All right, y'all, welcome back to the show. It's Anti-War Radio. We're streaming live from LRN.FM and antiwar.com/radio. And our next guest on the show today is Jess Sundin. Welcome to the show, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Now, you were one of the peacenik victims of this FBI persecution of the last week. Is that right?
Yes, I was. My home was raided by 7 or more federal agents on Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Wow. And was that because you're involved with Al-Qaeda or Hezbollah?
Neither one. Absolutely not. I'm a peace activist, and I believe the government doesn't like my ideas and is trying to prevent us from speaking out and saying what we believe in. They're not going to find any evidence in any of the things they seized from my house or any of the others that anyone ever gave anything to any terrorist organization. It's not something that anyone in the peace movement does. Nothing that I've ever done.
Mm-hmm. Well, now, is it correct that the warrant described, said that they were looking for evidence that, I guess each and every one of y'all somehow had provided, quote, material support to terrorist groups. Is that right?
That's what the warrant said.
And now, did the warrant describe what they thought, what evidence they thought they would find that would indicate such things?
They were looking for papers, photographs. They took books off my bookshelf. One person had his children's artwork taken off the walls. They took papers, computers, cell phones, checkbooks. They took everything, and except furniture, and none of that has any information like what they say they're looking for, and they're not going to find anything. There's no charges against any of us. In fact, they don't have a case against us, which is why they raided our home to try to make one up.
Mm-hmm. Well, so now the cops are going to go arrest the judge who signed this warrant without probable cause that evidence would be found of any material support, right? And then he'll go to prison for conspiracy to oppress you under the color of law.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, the government has sweeping powers. If they just say the word terrorist, they can point that at anyone they want, and they're free to do something like what they did to me.
Of course, I was just kidding. All judges have sovereign immunity from any crime they may commit while wearing their fancy black robe that just impresses me so much. Because it's a robe and I don't know, I guess, I don't know what's impressive about it. Anyway, so tell us about, your peace activism. What group are you a member of? What breakoff is it a sect of or whatever, for whatever reason, if we need to know those things? And what kind of work have you been doing that may have upset these, if we can call them men, so much?
I'm part of the Anti-War Committee, which is a local group in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've been around about 10 years, and our work has included, on the one hand, educating ourselves about the effects of U.S. war policies abroad, and on the other hand, coming home and trying to organize ourselves and our neighbors to speak out against injustices and on behalf of peace. So we've done things like organized demonstrations or had speakers doing educational presentations at universities, things like that. This is what our work is like. And everyone who has been caught up in this FBI operation is someone who helped organize the marches on the Republican National Convention that took place in St. Paul, Minnesota in 2008.
Okay, now there you got to an important point for me to follow up on. There are already 8 people who are the RNC-8 being prosecuted for arranging peaceful demonstrations at that convention, right?
Yeah, there is a group of folks from the Twin Cities who are facing charges related to the RNC. Yeah.
But now they're not related to y'all's group specifically?
No, we were all protesting at the RNC. They organized some other protests, but and they have come out in support of us, but we're not one and the same. All of us are people who are from the peace movement, and those folks specifically came together to do work protesting the RNC.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, how many different houses, how many different people, members of your group, were raided?
In Minneapolis, there were 5 houses and the offices of the anti-work committee that were raided. In Chicago, there were 2 additional homes that were raided. And then on top of that, in several cities, including Minneapolis, in Michigan, in North Carolina, and in California that I know of, there are individuals who are visited by the FBI and either questioned or given subpoenas to a grand jury.
Mm. So, from your best guess or what you think you're looking at here from your perspective, did these guys have some bad information? They thought they would be able to really get something on you, or they know it's not going to go anywhere, but they just want to try to scare you by sending, the Waco killers to your front door?
Well, on the one hand, I think that they do hope to quiet people down. They do hope to get people to keep their mouths shut and be scared. That's not going to work, but I think they also, it's like it's a fishing expedition. If you throw in enough lines, they're hoping they're going to catch something. I know that they're not, but they may not know that yet. I don't know. I certainly wasn't at any of their meetings or they made their plans, so I'm not sure how confident they were that they might find something. But I think that the warrant certainly wasn't like specific enough to they didn't have any specific information. It was all very general. And the fact that they don't have a case before doing all this is, assures me that they don't have enough information to begin with. Mm-hmm. I don't think they ever should have raided any of our homes. I thought in this country we were free to have our ideas and to talk about them without the agent, federal agents coming knocking down our door.
Right.
But
well, let me ask you this. I mean, was it Mulder and Scully in suits and pantsuits came knocked on the door, or guys in blue windbreakers, or was it like SWAT teams and machine guns and violence?
In my home, they were they didn't have any arms drawn. They were not in uniform. They were in casual attire. Black hoodies and slacks, I guess. I know that in one home, they pushed their way in, and in one home at least there was a fish tank that was, shattered when they burst the door open. But in general, no one was held at gunpoint. Actually, no one was even detained, because there's no grounds for that.
All right, well, I'm sorry that we're all out of time here. I really do appreciate your time on the show today, Jess, and best of luck to you. I'm sure that, you'll continue on chargeless in this situation. I hope you keep up your activism, because peace is the most important thing, as you well know. So thank you very much for your time today.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll be back, y'all. Other Scott Horton coming up.